Hello, I'm Kelly Downing, and I'm extremely excited to be joined by none other than the Executive Director and Founder of SBI, Mr. Charles Thompson. I'm excited for this opportunity for a few reasons, because there's a lot that I want to talk about, and I'm glad that we have an opportunity to have this conversation. I guess the first thing that I'm interested in, and I'm sure other people would be interested to know as well, is how did SBI come to be? Well, what are the origins?
SBI began late 80s, I think probably around 1987, 88. Mm-hmm. We began as a program at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, down at 112th and Amsterdam Avenue. There were some financial difficulties at that time happening around the city. Mm-hmm. The cathedral came to me and said, the program that we are doing with you is going to be dropped because we don't have the funding to maintain. And we already had another youth development program here at the time. So we went to Richard Murphy, who at that time was the Commissioner for Youth Services in New York City. Okay. He was the commissioner under Mayor David Dinkins. We ended up getting some funding to help us with the transition because they thought the program was of the quality that it deserved to have a life after the cathedral. Mm-hmm. And they connected us with Citizens Committee for New York City. So we operated under that. Okay. While we were at the Citizens Committee, we worked to get our own 501c3 status so that we could become our own standalone organization. At Cathedral, we were working with college-age students, and the focus was primarily on helping students of color from Manhattanville have access to non-performance jobs in the music entertainment industry. Coming here, we sort of stayed with that, and how we ended up getting here, we went, talked to people and saying that we thought we were now working with college students, but we thought it would be better to start working with young people at an earlier age. So we decided we would do high school. We were looking for high schools. Folks said, there's this A. Philip Randolph campus high school up on the City College campus, and it's a school that's preparing young people of color for admission into really competitive colleges. It's a place that could use these extra resources, and the students would be ready to receive them. Also, A. Philip Randolph was a city-wide school. It wasn't a community school. So students came in from every borough. So we said, this is the place that we will go. So we made connection with Community Board 9. They gave a recommendation to the school to meet with us to discuss our program. We came in here and met with the then famous principal, Lottie Taylor. She said she would give us a probationary period of 6 months to see if we would fit here. So we came in with still the idea of working with young people of color to introduce them to non-performance careers in the entertainment industry. Just thinking that young people of color need to be aware of other things in the industry besides being performers, and look at lawyers and marketing people and promoters. So with that, we started here under supervision of A. Philip Randolph administrators. We, in the 90s, started moving away from careers in the entertainment industry. We started moving more towards exposing young people to careers in business. And then gradually we evolved into a program that was starting to look at colleges and being more aware of different undergraduate programs and how they differ. And we got into seeing a need for helping young people prepare social-culturally for some of the kind of schools that they're going to have access to. There came the arts program. Okay. So today we are where we are now because of that track.
Now, as we come up on 30 years, like I can't even believe that, like 30 years. I wonder just what was that like? What was the motivation? What did it entail to keep this thing running for as long as you've been able to keep it running?
For me, this was a ministry. For me, being here was a calling. For me, being able to keep the organization here because of where it was located. Harlem being the mecca of Black America, A. Philip Randolph Campus High School, and just knowing the name A. Philip Randolph High School and wanting to be able to offer some special things for the young people here, for Black and brown kids coming here from backgrounds, from socioeconomically disadvantaged communities, coming with different kind of challenges, new immigrants. Young kids coming here deserve love, deserve additional resources, deserve the opportunity to have some of the same kind of experiences that kids would have in the suburbs. So for me, it was just a mission, a personal mission, and a personal calling. And those 30 years were possible because along the way, every 4 or 5 years, you got a whole new crew of volunteers, you got new parent energy, you got that core of teachers in the building that were involved with you. We got more connections out in the community. So you always had people helping you to keep moving along. But we never thought we would be here 30 years. I remember the 10th year, I wasn't even the 10th year, it was probably 6 or 7 years in, and I was talking to a teacher who was a really important mentor to me here. I was talking to her about what I was gonna do the 10th year. And she started laughing, she said, "Charles, you're getting a little ahead of yourself."
Right, 10 years.
So we didn't have any idea we'd be here that long. But being here and having the opportunity to prove that our schools are worthy, that our kids are worthy of special attention, being here 30 years and believing that we can create something that can be an example for the rest of the country, for other schools like ours. That kept us here for 30 years.
That's powerful. And so that brings me to my question in terms of, as you mentioned, over 30 years, you're changing, you're growing, and
you're constantly evolving, yes.
Growing. So like right now, being that we're at this particular point, in time and history, and we're celebrating 30 years, how would you define SBI? What is SBI?
At the core of SBI right now, I'm thinking alumni.
Okay. Yeah.
There have been a little over 11,000 graduates from Randolph. SBI presented a big event last fall celebrating A. Philip Randolph Campus High School's 40th anniversary. So we know that there are over 11,000 graduates from this school.
Okay.
We know just from dealing with the nearly 3,000 that have come through our program that there are people in all levels of professional careers, all levels. We know there are many administrators, many teachers, lawyers, doctors, politicians. So we have a large group of alumni. Our goal now is to organize this group of alumni and have them take over the principal role of leading this organization.
Right.
I will mention to you that I'm transitioning out of this position. 30 years is good.
Okay.
I'm gonna be here until June 1, 2022. So this year coming up, we'll be working on plans, we're rebranding. We have some major initiatives set up to go towards alumni, reaching alumni. But I'm working now to get the organization in position so that after I'm gone, I can still remain involved, but remain involved to help with funding and to be involved as an advocate. So right now for me, this is a call to action to alumni. If we've been here as people of color and done this for 30 years, we need to come together and step up and say, okay, this is ours. We need to say we are taking the 30 years that we've been here, we're looking at all those alumni, we're looking at community leaders, we're looking at our corporate partners, we're looking at former principals and faculty and staff. We are looking at that as a community, and we think that community from this school can be one that can empower us to control our destiny more, to make sure that more kids coming here are getting the resources that we can provide, to make sure that what happens in this building and this community, we have a voice. So community is what this is to me.
So the alumni, as I hear it, is a very profound and crucial part of SBI's mission. And you basically are stating that this is a call to action for alumni to give back.
Correct.
And you said that because?
I said that because I think everything is sort of connected to my experience growing up. And I know how important the Black church community was in our lives. And I look at this idea of building communities around schools in the city, schools in urban areas, rural areas, but building that community to do the same kind of thing. Around the civil rights era, I was growing up in the 60s, late 50s and early 60s, I witnessed what could happen when people came together, when they were part of a community, when they fellowship together. That's my desire for this school. And friends of mine like Frederick Douglass High School in Baltimore, a historic school, to be able to say, here's what we did in New York. We brought together a community and they came together to nurture, to support each other, but also understanding the power of the education that these young people get in these public high schools. So we, as SBI, we can't change all schools in the country, but we can take one and say, in this school, any child that comes here will be on a different level in society once they leave here. They'll be ready for opportunities after high school, whether they go into careers right away or whether they go to college. And we do advocate young people getting college degrees. But the idea of community comes from that era when I was growing up. So to be able to have people to come here to network, for us to help each other with careers, for us to be in a position to help our recent graduates from college to do things, to have our alumni from 30 years ago, 35 years ago, to be able to give people access to things not unlike what you have in private schools, where people stay connected forever. You come out of that school and that's your home. We need this to be that same kind of thing. So everything is around community. And that community, again, Kelly, we're talking about alumni, but also we're talking about former teachers who gave blood here to feel pride in the fact that the place is still serving and that they can contribute. That's what we're talking about. So we're looking at this idea of this IGC, this inclusive grassroots cooperative. We're looking at that as being a new model for creating communities, and out of that community, we empower ourselves to take care of our own and to take pride in our institutions, to take pride in the fact that when I came here in '91, this school was performing at the top level in the city. It was referred to as the Stuyvesant of Harlem. Students of color came here who got into Stuyvesant and Bronx Science and Brooklyn Tech. They came here because this was a nurturing environment and there were people here who looked like them, doing great stuff. SBI being here means that we can continue that, we can support that and bring resources. And again, the idea of being able to take this model to other places and being an anchor in our Black and brown communities, this school.
I think it's really fascinating because I am a former teacher. You mentioned that, this also includes not just, the students, but again, like you said, teachers, and I fall into that category because I myself was introduced to SBI as a new teacher at A. Philip Randolph. And I had an opportunity to talk with SBI alum and current board member, Dr. Stephanie Akumbe, whose dissertation really led and gave birth to this IGC model. And so this IGC model and this framework, so to speak, is really what we should associate SBI with now as a way to better just understand who and what we are. Because this organization is very unique. I think when we talk to people, everyone has a different definition. It all fits within, but we, from what I'm hearing now, are really trying to streamline our message, really make it clear who we are and what we do, right?
Yes, that's correct. And the IGC model will be one that really engages alumni, really engages the community, elected officials, local corporations, not-for-profit organizations with collaborations. It will engage local arts programs that want to be here. So it's that coming together of all of these entities to strengthen the school. That's what we'll be. It's not just a college prep program, it's not an arts program, but it's this community label as the IGC.
There also, you mentioned a lot of exciting new initiatives that are happening. and that people should be on the lookout for, because SBI, again, has a long-standing history. But as we look forward to this new year, how has SBI been responsive? Because we know we've been in the heart of a pandemic. We know that education has been disrupted. We know that going forward now there's a lot of uncertainty. We have different models. How has SBI been responsive to the current changes and challenges?
The spring programs that we do were all done remotely. Some of the programs we do in collaboration with Harlem Stage, they were all done remotely. It was difficult doing some of the arts programs, and it was difficult doing a lot of the academic college prep things because the students were all involved with the same kind of thing with their regular school day. But we kept those things going, partly because our seniors, we wanted to make sure that they didn't drop off with the things that would happen with the college. So we made sure we stayed in touch with them, and we got involved with a program we were doing with God at Riverside to make sure that they're taken care of. With our academic programs, we had instructors still meeting with the students, just because we felt there might be some students that still needed us to talk with, even though we weren't doing our traditional instruction. With our arts program, we did those, as I said again, remotely. Attendance was not as high as we had hoped, but we still kept the programs in place. Going forward this fall, everything will be remote. We're looking remote all year. But our goal is to come up with strategies to make sure we can maintain our registers for our college and career preparatory institute programs. For our arts programming that we do after school, we are planning on having that to go forward still. We'll be doing it remotely, and we are hoping we're going to be able to do some things here in this space spread out. And we're looking to be able to do some things out of doors down the park, down at the bottom of the stairs, setting up sessions there. For next May's Career Day event, which is our big event, we're already working on plans to be able to do that all online. So we're going to set that up. We're working with Ford, we're working with Deloitte. We're going to be setting it up, all the interview process, we're going to do all of that online. The May show that we're planning on doing next year, we're looking at, guess what? Pre-recording it, every segment, getting it edited, building a screen down in the park, setting it up and running the program and offering it to the whole Harlem community. So we are still going to be involved. And the big thing that we are looking at, this pandemic will be over at some point. We're taking every opportunity, while there's some slowdown with instruction in our programs, we're taking all these opportunities to work on our infrastructure. We're working on new funding resources. We're strengthening our team to be in a better position when this ends, because we will be here when it's over. We will be here, and we want to be better when it's over, with our use of technology, with our use of resourcing out for other people to come in. We are looking to be strong after this. So this has been a challenge. It's going to be a challenge this year, but this has actually been a time when I've seen more people step up to the plate, and the energy in the organization is at a level that it's never been before. Never.
Interesting. And I'm thinking about the 30-year legacy. I'm thinking about this organization without you at the helm and how important. And I think this year, this virtual gala is important because we need everyone to look at the organization a little differently. So if you thought you knew SBI before, we want you to take a new look at us now, because clearly, if you're not at the helm, we really are going to have to put these structures in place to make sure that this can continue.
And we will be doing, because we operated in a certain way with a small organization, and me being the founder and executive director. We worked and operated in a way that we've outgrown. We started outgrowing that 3 or 4 years ago, and the transition began. When we are looking to go forward, when I'm talking, I had a meeting last week with some prospective new board members, and one of the things that they were surprised at the fact when they looked at the number of students that come out of here and the colleges that they go to, how competitive the schools are. And when they look at the fact that we have 75 to 80% of our kids going to 4-year colleges every year out of our program. One of the things we're gonna be adding this year is Randolph just lost the 2 full-time college counselor positions. The principal approached us, and we made a commitment to find a way to fill those positions. And one of the ways we're looking to do that is with this 30 for 30 campaign where I'm asking each member of the alumni to donate $1 for every year I've been in this building.
Okay.
So we're asking everybody to do that, and the people that feel like they can do that times 2, or times 3, or times 4, or times 5, that's all good too.
Okay.
But we're asking every member of the alumni to do that. Every person that's been in this program has heard my mouth over the years, seen me go crazy in here over the years, seen me smile with joy when they go across the stage for graduation, seen me join them on the stage doing my fabled Randolph yell after shows. We've been doing that for 30 years. Those people who were here with us back in the early years when we were doing the big step shows, and I can remember doing shows out in this theater where there was standing room only, and I remember a big show that we did, and we had all the equipment and it got hot in here, and the equipment all went down, and the folks didn't understand that it wasn't something that we were trying to do. And that's when we decided, okay, we're not gonna do all step shows anymore. We're gonna expand this arts program to some other kind of things. But all the people who are part of that experience, all the people who have been here for Black History Month things, for all of the Career Day events, all of us that supported each other, all the people, all the alumni were involved 13 or 14 years ago when SBI was on the front line to fight to keep A. Philip Randolph from being broken up. We were there with alumni downtown. That's what you have to be able to do. So all of the people that understand this legacy, we as people from this community must protect. This legacy is ours to protect, and it's ours to build upon. That's our call. These things have to be important to us. A. Philip Randolph and SBI, it's unique. And I would also say, I think I've had 9 principals since I've been here.
Wow, that's a lot.
And when we did the anniversary last year, all the living principals all donated to that event. Most of them were at that event. There were dozens of teachers at that event because we created community. There were people at that event from the first graduating class. There were students from this year's graduating class. That's community. We need community, and I believe with IGC, we can make this a model for developing community within the areas that we live, and community that can be a empowerment zone for us.
Let's say that we had unlimited funding. For you, it's still that alumni piece. So it's not a matter of just having resources per se without alumni. Like that's not part of your vision. It's with the alumni included.
We always talk about for us, by us. That FUBU thing is what I talk about all the time. We can't say FUBU because somebody else already got that. You understand what I'm saying? But that idea of self-help, us taking pride in our community, looking within to solve our own problems, that's what was at the core of this. The programs that we've done over the years, they've been paid for by parents. All the students raised money for all the programs we did. The majority of the funds that we've had in here over the 30 years have come from the people that this program served.
For me, given everything that's going on in the pandemic, particularly has shown us, for people of color, how frail our institutions are, from healthcare, education, if we look at the justice system. And so what you're saying is right in line with the times. And what I hear is that even if people didn't give before, maybe it wasn't a part of your construct to donate or to give to a cause. I think now more than ever, we need to change our mindset. We need to have this now at the forefront of our mind, particularly for an institution that has the legacy, the tradition, and the outcomes that SBI has.
And we, with our alumni, can be an organization that has the power to do that. Right. Again, when you look around New York City, I don't know of any active alumni that's predominantly people of color of a high school in New York City. That's where we are, and we've been doing this kind of thing. We're formalizing it now with the Alumni and Friends Committee, but we've been doing it for years. It's about us taking care of our communities. It's about us being organized, and SBI educating, organizing, and mobilizing. Educating our students, educating our alumni and our community, organizing them to take care of issues that they need to deal with, organizing them to make their institutions stronger, and then mobilizing them to go out and get it done. That's what it is. And again, the essence, it's ours. It's ours. I would love a big corporation or a foundation to give us funding. A lot of times it's difficult for organizations like us to get funding, because someone said to me when I was going in for a meeting, and I won't even say the name of the organization, but it's an organization everybody would think would be someone to be looking and say, oh wow, this is an organization here for 30 years, we're gonna give to them. They said, man, you're trying to get kids into Wesleyan and Williams. We are putting our money more into keeping kids off the streets, and I said, that's fine. Making sure kids have food to eat, doing all those things is fine. But where I am, the resources going to these high potential students that I'm working with, they are changers in society. They can be empowered to reduce the problem that you're dealing with. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I can't say it enough. This is ours. All the people that stand in that office with me, all on the front lines, this is ours. We made this with nickels and dimes and giving enough where the school allowed us to stay here. Because again, with our relationship with A. Philip Randolph, nothing like this exists in New York City. There is no not-for-profit organization running programs, running after school, intervening downtown. There's nobody doing that. We are the organization doing that for this community.
Let's say you have the opportunity to talk to all alumni, right? You got everybody out there, particularly now that this is such a pivotal time, such a new time, such an exciting time for SBI. What would you say to them? What would be your words that you would want to impart to all the alumni?
So Kelly, if I'm speaking to alumni, I'm looking at you like you're the alumni. You're a member of my alumni.
Go for it.
If this program and if this school enabled you to be able to step to the next level when you left here, you might have not have been prepared at the level that you wanted to be. We don't have a perfect situation here. Mm-hmm. But if being in this school helped you to get to where you are now, I need you to come back and say to us, you don't have a lot of time to volunteer, but I need you to come back and say, we can give you $5 a year. We can give you $10 a year. We're gonna do something. We're gonna sign a petition to support you. I need you to come back and be a part of this. If institutions in our communities of color, if they're important to you, and if you want us to be in a position to claim what's ours in the society, to get the resources everybody can get, we need you to come home. Come back to help. If you are a person that was on this stage, if you're on this stage and had those experiences with us in that arts program community, we need you to come home. If you've been the person on the bus with us, riding all upstate New York, going to 10, 12 colleges in the spring, sitting in meetings with college advisors, we need you to come here to be a part of this. If you sat in those career prep classes with the freshman studies program, or with the sophomores enrichment program, or with the college program, SAT program for the juniors, or with the SKY program, the seniors college admissions initiative for the seniors, if you were in any of those programs and sat here every day for 90 minutes on Thursdays and Mondays, and it got you into Skidmore, or it got you into New Paltz, you need to be here to help us, because this is ours. Take pride in us. Take pride in us. Take pride in A. Philip Randolph. Take pride in SBI.
Listen, I think we can't say it any better than that. I want to thank you first and foremost, just for your service, your commitment to not only A. Philip Randolph, but your commitment to the community. I think SBI has definitely feel your absence, but I know that it's not going to be an absence, because I know you're going to still be a part of SBI, even though you're going to move into a new position. But I just want to again thank you on behalf of the students that have come through SBI and those that are going to come through SBI and don't even know it. I just commend you on the work that you've done, and I look forward to the future, the next 30 years. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.